Okay, I've got a question. What does a show named Guiding Grace, not Guiding Grace, a custom ornament debacle, and an eager talent agent have in common?
Well, somehow, believe it or not, they are all key plot points in Hallmark Channel's 2024 Christmas flick, Following Yonder Star. And we've got a lot to talk about, Jennifer.
We sure do, Josh, and we'll unwrap it all in this episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
If you like holiday movies from the classics to newbies, let's sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh. Sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh.
Well, as of recording, I have gotten back from the homeland of West Virginia, which coincidentally enough, Josh and I both have roots there, which is crazy because it's not like we know each other from West Virginia. We've met each other in Middle Tennessee. And Josh, I gotta tell you, it was great to see my family. A lot of them are listeners. Shout out. But I think the highlight may have been going to Tudor's Biscuit World. Are you
Listen,
jealous?
I'm so jealous. I love a Tudor's Biscuit World. I love West Virginia. I love a pepperoni roll. I'm glad you got to visit the motherland.
Just for a few moments, but yes, what is your order at Tudor's? Because I usually get the one that has the cinnamon apples on a biscuit, which sounds crazy, and it's definitely gonna clog my arteries, but they were out of apples today, so I had to just get, like, standard chicken biscuit.
It's unfortunate. I'm generally like a sausage and egg biscuit classic go-to.
Mhm. My husband gets the peppy, which is pepperoni and cheese, which is also, like Josh mentioned, like a pepperoni roll. So back in the day in the coal mines, the miners would pack pepperoni rolls to go down to the mines because it was filling, full of protein
Full of
and
protein.
goodness while you're working hard, man. So glad to be home. It's just a few short days away from Christmas, and we are marching towards the finish line of finishing, recapping, and reviewing the movies we drafted for this season. So let's get to it. Here's the IMDb summary for Following Yonder Star. Because I think that's how you have to say it, right? You have to
Yes.
and it's a Dayspring movie. So here we go. A former television star waits out a scandal in Vermont. She becomes close with the innkeeper and his daughter while she helps him direct the local Christmas pageant. Now, I think you were more high on this movie than I was, maybe in the draft. Is that right?
I think so. I think you heard Dayspring and you were like, ugh. But we'll just have to see what we think at the end of the day in our Gold or Coal segment. So stay tuned. Let's go.
We open to our leading lady, Abby, and she is acting as Gabriella in the hit show Guiding Grace, which is a super cheesy, saccharine, sweet, probably daytime television show. I was trying to think of something to liken it to. I mean, is it kind of like a Dr. Quinn type of thing? I mean, she wasn't a doctor, but just kind of like a series that's very faith-based, warm fuzzies, low drama, perfect family
Mm,
representation.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, what would this look like, on modern television? And I think it is like a soap opera minus anything that's salacious because it was very dramatic, very heartfelt. You could tell.
Probably kinda like Wind Calls the Heart, except it's of
Exactly.
modern time, actually,
Love
so
that.
the more I'd say. Yeah. So, then we cut to Abby, who's our leading lady. She's in a Christmas shop looking at ornaments in the modern day. The guy that's working the register runs into her, and he recognizes her from Guiding Grace. He thinks he's talking to Abby as though she is really Gabriella, her character, and he wants her cookie recipe, and he's, like, really I was gonna say fangirling, fanguying out a lot and wants relationship advice from he keeps calling her Gabriella, and she's like, "I'm not that person," which I do think we are all probably guilty of conflicting the real person actor with the role that they play if it is a show that we love so much, and we want them to be just like their character, and obviously that's not always the case. Um, she gets on the phone with her TV husband, turns out it's actually her real life ex-husband, so the lines were blurred a little bit there, but I guess she usually goes to his aunt's Christmas Eve get together, and there's an ornament swap, which is why she was gonna buy an ornament and have it custom engraved with some saying that meant something to him, and he drops the I wrote down hot cocoa bomb on her that he's expecting a baby with his fiancée. So that's 2 bombs because she didn't know there was a fiancé, and she certainly didn't know there was a baby in the picture. And she's like, "Okay, I don't think I'll come anywhere." He's like, "No, you can still come." And she's like, "No, no, no, I'm good." So she's tearing up, pulling herself together though in public, and she goes to the guy working the shop, and she's like, "Hey, I gotta cancel. I don't need you to do that custom ornament after all." And the fan working there won't let her cancel it since it's already in the system, even though he had not done any engraving or embossing or whatever on it yet. And it goes on. I mean, I'm Team Abby, of course, in this. I'm like, what's the big deal? But he won't cancel it. It gets tense, and then she kind of has like this emotional because she was bubbling anyways under the surface with her emotions. It kind of explodes on him, and the entire shop films it on their phones. Oops. Now she does not freak out. She's not taking a baseball bat to people's windows
No.
or any shaving her head or anything crazy we've seen in the media. It was very when I say she freaked out, it's very mild. It's freaked out in the Hallmark world, right? Like she was just saying, I don't understand what the big deal is. Why can't you cancel my order? I'm not paying for an ornament I don't need. Kind of like that. That's as elevated as she got. She did not cuss him out. She did not throw things. Again, I'm Team Abby, but now this little viral clip of America's Perfect Mom getting ratted out has, well, gone viral, and her agent has to do some damage control. What did you think of this scene? When we heard it was, what did they say in the synopsis? Like what was it? Uh, a scandal in Vermont. Is this what you had in mind?
No, I thought that the scandal was gonna be far more salacious, but then I did a double take when I was like, "Oh, it's a Dayspring, so this is gonna be a Dayspring type of scandal," which is basically like a saccharine mom having a bad day, right? And it being caught on
Mhm.
video, which is exactly what we got here. So, very out of character for her. She's supposedly very upbeat, very always positive, and this was a non-positive moment, but it was a very sort of realistic moment because she was getting a hard time from this business, and it was like, I thought the customer was always right, and it was kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and also this show hasn't been on the air in what, 2 or 3 years, I think, at this point. So the fact that Gabriella still has a grip on society this much to get noticed and to go viral, it's really, I guess, impressive of her, her legacy. But anyways, agent's gonna do damage control, and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna fix this, but also they want to cast you. The network wants to cast you in a new mystery show. Kind of sounds like Aurora Tea Garden or one of those." And but now the network is having doubts because they saw your video. They don't really like that direction for the network, and we'll have to see what we can do. They might cast someone else. So Abby's like, "You know what? I'm gonna go on some kind of eat, pray, love getaway to a bougie resort in Vermont." Unfortunately, when she booked it, she gets there to check in. They can't find a reservation. She reserved it for next year's Christmas stay, not this year. So she has nowhere to stay. There is literally no room in the bougie resort, as the Bible says. And the lady working the front counter kind of feels bad for her. And she's like, "Hey, there's another inn in town. I've heard there were plumbing issues, but now they have some availability in rooms that have just opened up. So why don't you go there?" She goes there to this small, small inn, and Nick, played by John Brotherton, is the innkeeper, and coincidentally enough, has space for her to stay. He did recognize her, didn't he? I
I
think
think
kind of
so. Yeah, he did
because
because
he
he started
wasn't fangirling.
wasn't fangirling, but he was very clumsy because he was so taken aback that she was there, and I think that that
Mhm.
made him really nervous, and so I think that he was and is throughout this entire thing just trying to not fall all over himself. It's kinda cute.
It's very cute. So she's gonna stay there. Turns out he's also the director of the Christmas pageant. Now, this is an actual Christmas pageant, unlike what was that last movie we talked about? Leah's Perfect Gift, where they called it a pageant. It was really just people dressed up, being awkward with one another.
Mhm.
This is how you Christmas pageant day spring. I see you. I am here for it. So he's the director. It turns out it was something that was really important. It was kind of his um, wife's big deal. She usually did it, but she passed away in recent years. So he has taken over. And they kind of have this thing where Abby is going to help him co-direct the pageant because she's good with working with kids. She worked with kids a lot on her show. And in turn, he like helps her run lines for the new project and is just kind of showing around town. Abby keeps getting recognized in the town, and then she overhears people spreading gossip and making the story a way bigger deal than it was. Like, one townie is telling the bakery owner, "Oh, did you see the clip?" I mean, I didn't watch the clip, but like my dog groomer sister's friend watched the clip and said it was terrible and she was awful. And the bakery owner turns out to be Nick's sister-in-law. So she has a bad vibe, bad juju about our Abby, having never spoken to her really. That'll come back up. Okay. So, um, Abby then goes to the community center and helps Nick practice for the Christmas play. She's wrangling the kids for rehearsal, and she looks like a magic angel. Brooke is just beautiful in this role. I mean, she's always beautiful, but she just looked angelic. She meets Nick's precious daughter. Spoiler alert, he's got a daughter, and talks to her about conquering her stage fright. Mia is another mom in town who was spreading the rumors earlier, and she shows up at the pageant, of course, and is also flirting with Nick, but Nick's not reciprocating. Abby and Nick then talk about their faith and struggles, and and then they talk about prayer and conversation with God and things like that. Nick's daughter then breaks out a shepherd on the search doll, where it moves around every night on its way to the manger. Now, we have people of all ages listening, so I'll just say I think this is a cute idea and a cute tradition you could do in your home.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at
Mhm.
that. Okay. They're decorating the inn for Christmas because Nick hadn't really had time to do it yet because of all the plumbing issues, and there are major plumbing issues in this inn. But now they have time. Abby's helping them, and Nick is what did I say? Nick is taking his daughter to the Nutcracker. Oh, he's not. Nick's daughter is going to go to the Nutcracker with Bakery's sister-in-law. And Abby's helping her pick out a dress and braids her hair, and it's a super sweet moment. Sister-in-law shows up and is like, "Skirt, what's Abby doing here? I don't like her. Heard she was awful. You shouldn't be around her." Went hard on Abby to Nick to where it was a little, I don't know, it was mean. She was just basing on the hot goss in the town, and I didn't like it. What did you think about the sister-in-law?
Yeah, I think the sister-in-law was trying to do this thing where she was protecting her niece, and I think she had heard these rumors about Abby, and so I think that she very much did not want her niece to be hurt, but
Mhm.
she went in hard, right? Did not at all give her the benefit of the doubt, just really sort of swooped in with an instant judgment, and I thought that that was a little harsh, I guess would be the right word.
It's a little harsh.
A little
I
harsh.
agree. Well, anyway, she whisks the daughter off to the Nutcracker, and Abby and Nick go on a date, and they look at the stars, and it's a very romantic setting. And then Nick is geeking out over constellations and science because I guess he was a science teacher too. And she tells Nick how she didn't really separate personal and work when she married her ex. Well, yeah, no kidding. And the ex didn't want kids, so that's why they separated, which is probably why she freaked out even more in the ornament shop because now he's gonna be a dad and it's not with her, and I could see where that would be hurtful. So, woof is what I wrote. Abby and Nick get busted walking around town by the sister-in-law, and you would think they broke curfew. She's like, "What are you doing here? Why are you out?" She's like, the play is my late sister's legacy. Abby and her drama are traipsing all over it. I don't like it. Well, Abby overhears sister-in-law talking to Nick about that, and Abby tries to make her feel more at ease, but it's still pretty, I wrote, uncomfy. The ice has not thawed yet. We then get a nativity play montage with the kids who are not so ready for this play, and it's cute. And Abby's a big help, and sister-in-law finally starts to soften a little. She then has a heart-to-heart with Abby over a cooking-making montage. It talks about how the show brought them, the sister-in-law, and Nick's wife, his widowed wife, it's not ex-wife, his late
Deceased wife, late wife, yeah.
may she rest in peace, how they would watch Abby's show, and it brought them comfort and hope in her late days, and it was something they really bonded on, which means a lot to Abby because she kind of underestimates how much that show meant to people. And so it was really great to see her kind of understanding the weight of this show and how it made an impact. There's a running gag that the plumbing sucks, like I've already mentioned. And so Gabriella, no, I wrote Gabriella. Abby's tub isn't working. Nick can't fix it. Well, luckily, Abby figured out how to fix it because Gabriella fixed plumbing in the show. So, and she rattled off. It was kind of like Sugar Plum, but she was like, episode blah, 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 I did this. And so that's how I know this thing. And I thought that was kind of cute. They go on another date to the masquerade ball, which he'd been invited to earlier in the movie by the other mom. And he's like, I don't think I'm going to go. And she's like, I thought you weren't going. He said, well, I didn't have a date then. So he gets her a dress. He's in a tux. They look very fancy. And they go to the masquerade ball and look like $1,000,000. Abby then sees the town gossiper and speaks some truth into her. And then Nick and Abby are like, let's both take off our masks because there's no need to be behind a mask anymore. We're letting down our walls. And they dance. It's sweet. She says how she prayed for hope and now her prayers are answered. This relationship is on the fast track,
Very much so.
like a shooting star in the sky, some may say.
Follow it.
And
Follow that star.
yeah, follow that star. Nick says he doesn't want this to end, and Abby says maybe I can stay a few days past Christmas. And Nick is so excited. And it is precious because, like you said, he's kind of fumbling. He's a little givey. He's not like your typical suave Hallmark hunk. I mean, he's obviously a Hallmark hunk. He's John Brotherton. But he's like a little more, like you said, clumsy and kind of oogly-eyed over her. Not in a creepy way, though. It was cute. It was endearing, I thought.
Very guy next door. Very like honest, hardworking, small town guy next door.
Mm-hmm. While they're dancing, we get another Jennifer Hudson Christmas song playing, and I really liked it. So good. So there you go. The agent calls Abby, and turns out the network's making her do a screen test for this mystery show on the 26th. And she's heartbroken because that means she has to leave to get home by the 26th back to LA, which means she can't stay longer like she thought she could. And heaven forbid her and Nick like text or call, or she comes back and visits like next week. Like, I think it would have been okay if she left and then came back if they really wanted to see what this relationship was about, but it's drama, right? Nick has a moment and he prays to God for some hope and light because he's been in the dark a really long time. Now, what did you think about this scene? Because it was just John Brotherton by the glow of the Christmas tree having a chat with old Jesus. What did you think?
I bought it. I thought it was really heartfelt. I think it was kind of one of those where this is where we're kind of getting to the thrust of his character development in all of this. And I bought it. What about you?
I loved it. I thought it was so touching and so sweet without being over the top cheese. It was just, and we already knew this anyways, he's been through a lot the past few years, especially. And I can imagine if you are starting to have feelings for a new person, that would bring up all sorts of feelings about your past and the future and all of it at the same time. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah. Like
I thought he did great.
it didn't feel preachy or over the top. It felt very, as we like to say here on the pod, earned. It was an earned moment, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. So the next day, the paparazzi shows up in town to snap photos of Abby. And Nick and the sister-in-law are very defensive, like, get out of here. Abby doesn't want you here. And we, the viewer, know Abby's heart and that this was not her idea. But the paparazzi is telling Nick and the sister-in-law that all of this is staged, that Abby tipped them off, told them to come here to repair her image because now, she's helping the small town Christmas pageant. What could be better for your reputation than that? And they swarm Abby at the church or community center with her cameras as Jennifer Hudson's "Oh Holy Night" plays, because we got another J Hud music song. And the sister-in-law of all people ends up talking sense into Nick because he freaks out on her. He's like, I thought I knew you, Abby. I thought this was something real and you were using me the whole time. And there's this whole like oopsie doodle blow up, right? Well, that night at the program, sister-in-law's trying to talk sense into him. And Abby had left to go for the screen test back to LA with her agent. Oh no, what are we going to do? He's too late. He's running after her. She's gone. What's going to happen next? Well, his daughter gets on stage to perform without Abby there to help her, and she's kind of freaking out. She's got stage fright. And like the angel that she is from the back of the church community center. I don't know, unclear. Community center?
Yeah, I think so.
Place of performance. She shows up, she grabs a choir robe and stands next to the daughter on stage like another angel and talks back and forth with her, getting the daughter to say her lines. But then the daughter keeps talking and Nick is on the side like, "They've gone rogue," but he's, like, so happy to see Abby there, he's so happy they're connecting, and it's going really well, and it was a really cute scene. I didn't write down everything they said, but they're basically talking about the guiding star of Bethlehem and how wonderful it is. It was this really sweet moment, and then the play ends, it's a smash hit. Abby and Nick reconcile because they have adult conversations, like we don't often get in these movies, and realize that it was all a big misunderstanding. They kiss. The daughter interrupts to give Abby a snow globe, and then they walk outside to see the big constellation that was gonna happen with what was it? 2 planets?
2 planets aligning apparently happens every 20 years, and that's the big star moment.
Like the like, it was supposed to be like the Star of Bethlehem, right?
Exactly.
That's, like,
Yeah.
maybe what the Bible was talking about, they think, and it happened on Christmas Eve. Turns out Abby turned down the role in LA to live out her dream, which I guess is being in a small town with him. He thanks her for showing him it's possible to fall in love again. They basically make out in the town squares. The Christmas star is being viewed by the whole town, and the star shines bright, and the movie fades to black.
It's time for gold or coal.
Okay, it is time for our gold or coal segment where we're each going to bring 3 gifts to the podcast. This time, if there's more gold, it's follow the star. And if it's more coal, it's get lost. And if it's a tie, it's just a Merry Christmas. Josh, I'm going to you first.
So I will give some gold, and this one might surprise you, Jennifer, given my track record on this podcast, but I'm giving gold for the kid actors in this
Huh.
particular movie. I really appreciated that they weren't just these sterling, darling, perfect little children throughout. These kids had some sass and some attitude, and I just thought that that was very realistic to kids these days. The one who especially caught my attention was the little girl who fancied herself very much a theater diva and was very much in her moment. I just thought she was really cute, and I liked that it added a certain degree of levity and humor to this because I think this movie really needed some of that because otherwise it could have been really sort of dense and heavy, but I think that that added enough of a humorous note that I really enjoyed it.
Agreed. I like that. I will give some gold. I probably, already ratted myself out. The John Brotherton scene, kind of talking to God out loud just by himself. I thought it was so well done. It felt so earned and sincere and true. And I just really, really thought he nailed that scene. It was great.
Agreed. I thought he was great. Great casting for him. And I'm also going to give gold for Brooke Dorsey. I thought that she was just so great in this role. Like it was very believable that she would play sort of this really saccharine type who has this like crisis of conscience and really trying to come into her own as a person, as a real person, who has good days and bad days and all of that. And I really bought their relationship development and thought that it was a great pairing, the two of them together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were great together. I will give more gold for the Abby and daughter scene in the final program when they're kind of going rogue, what's spouting off about the star. It was so funny because Abby was uncomfortable and wanted the scene to end. And she was like kind of trying to nudge the daughter off the stage, and the daughter would say something else. She was like, "Oh, we're still here. We're still standing here." Okay. Like it just looks so natural. I did think they may have ad-libbed some of that stuff, and it just was very sweet. It drove the point home from a Christian storytelling standpoint, but also it's the potential, new wife of Nick at some point, a new mother figure, and tying up all those bows. I just thought it was really sweet.
Yeah. More gold for me. The Christmas vibes throughout. This gave me everything that I wanted in terms of Christmas vibes. And I really liked how they handled the nativity presentation and all of that. It was very Christian focused, but it wasn't hit you over the head with it. It was just very sort of meaningful without it being preachy, and I just think that it was really, really well done, and I appreciated not just that scene, but throughout the rest of the Christmas vibes that we were getting. This is definitely a Christmas movie, and that can sometimes be a big criticism for us, and that's certainly not a concern here. I thought it was great.
I agree. Man, you've pretty much stolen all of mine, so I wanna give gold for my last gift. I'm just trying to think of something else to say that in a different way than what's been said, but I don't know, this movie just surprised me in the best way, and a lot of it is what you just said, like, some of the Godwink movies have been a struggle, some of the other Dayspring movies have not been my cup of tea, but I think this movie landed a balance of, like you said, having some levity, having some humor, having real relationships, real conversations, real struggles with faith, and wondering which direction to go in life next. I mean, I think that's all very real. And as Christians, I don't want to speak for you, but I think there's a lot of times that you're looking for a sign, you're looking for hope, you're looking like you're just kind of you feel stuck and wondering what to do next. And I think that's very real and something that sometimes the typical quote unquote Christian movies don't wanna show, but it's a real struggle that everybody has to deal with. So,
Right.
I thought they did all of that really well. These are not perfect people that have it all figured out because if you think you're one of those people, you ain't my kind of people. Mm-mm.
Yeah, and I think that that's what makes this a universal kind of appeal sort of movie.
Mhm.
Yes, it is coming from that Christian camp, but it is universal to the human experience to have these moments where you're like, "What is the course of my life looking like? And am I okay with that?"
Mhm.
And what do you do when you're caught behaving in a way that is not who you wanna be? What do you do when people start talking about you and all of that sort of stuff? And so I thought that that was really well done, and like you, I was just so pleasantly surprised with this. The description was not great when we were going through the draft, but then I saw the movie poster and I thought, "This looks kind of interesting to me," and I like
Mhm.
the 2 of them, the 2 actors in this in the
Mhm.
lead roles, and I just thought from start to finish, this was just really a heartfelt good, easy watch. 6 gold from us, which is, as good as it gets for us, and,
Mhm.
will it be at the top of the heap for me this season? No, but will it be in my top 5, 6? Absolutely. I think it gives
Mhm.
you a lot of those heartfelt things. It's not in that zany vibe, it's not in
Right.
that big Hallmark star heavy hitter vibe like Three Wiser Men and a
Mhm.
Boy was or that sort of thing, but I think this one holds its own in terms of
Mhm.
its place in the season.
Yeah, and again, I wish we hadn't spent our entire marketing budget on the Chiefs movie because
Yeah.
being late in the season concerned me, being a Dayspring movie concerned me, and the fact that I didn't see a lot of promo for it concerned me, and so pleasantly surprised. So,
So
yeah,
let's just say this. We're just gonna take this moment to put out a message to the Hallmark Channel. Hallmark, we love you.
because they're listening.
Well, we'll tag them on social. Hallmark, we love you. We're just saying we are two, I would say, informed viewers who may be able to tell you what the big ones are going to be and could probably guide you on the ones that you might want to throw a little bit more promotional oomph behind so that you can have more than one or two big heavy hitter movies throughout your season. Just saying.
I'm just saying.
We're
Yeah,
here for
and
you.
what I love about when we talk about these movies as a genre, there is something for everybody. Now, every movie doesn't appeal to everybody. I don't know that there's been any movie I've seen just completely 100% rave reviews for, even ones that we've gushed about. Some people are like, "Ah, turn it off." But let's kind of broaden our horizons from a marketing standpoint. Let's kinda and let people know what to expect. Better synopses and more promotion. That's what we're asking for. And I'm glad we watched it, and we probably wouldn't have if we didn't draft it. So again, the draft knows best, doesn't it?
The draft does know best.
And that, friends, is another episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
Special thanks to Nick Schwartz for our theme song. And of course, a very special thanks to each and every one of you for taking the time to listen or watch us on our YouTube channel.
Hey, Christmas is coming, and what better gift can you give us for this free hopefully content that brightens your day in some small way, then to give a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast platform, or subscribe, leave a comment, and like it on YouTube. Please, we beg you. It helps us spread the word, spread the joy to more people. And that's what Christmas is all about. And Jesus. Mainly Jesus. All right. So if you need information on how to connect with us, it's all at doyouwatchwhatiwatch.com. Next time, Josh, the draft gods have selected the final movie of the season. And it is Happy Holidays, starring Jessica Loudness, and the winner of Finding Mr. Christmas. If you haven't finished Finding Mr. Christmas yet, I'm not going to spoil it. Although if you've been on the internet, you've probably been spoiled anyways. But it's not going to happen here. Okay, we're not spoiling today. So here is the plot summary. Mia, a quote-unquote meticulous webpage editor for the Seattle Tourism Board, finds herself unexpectedly navigating the holidays alone. As the only one working, she's drawn into an unusual encounter when she encounters a stray dog. Well, we will have much to discuss and encounter, and until then,
Until we encounter you soon, may your days be merry and bright. We'll see you next time.